Boss Rush 940, day 3. So this one's a pretty easy day, but it's not a good farm because we do have the Acolyte of N'Zoth cleanup with those Tentacles on the last boss. Sayge is the first boss. Actually, this day is only really easy if you have Deathwing Rattlegore leveled up. It does take a little bit of time and it's not a good farm, but if you do try to do it with a different comp, I was able to beat it with a Varden comp. And I also did beat it with Belinda Holmes triple freeze, but that comp didn't work super well and you need to be pretty strong, so you also needed some sort of solution for the Tentacles at the end, so Varden's Frost Ritual is probably the best way to do that. The other issue with Varden's Frost Ritual, though, is you need 2 4-speed attacks to ensure that you can freeze before the Tentacles get their 4-speed melee attacks off if they both use them on the same turn. So you basically have to have something like Belinda and Voon alive, since they both have 4-speed attacks. So this comp would aim to keep Belinda, Varden, Gin, and Voon alive, kill off Cookie and Bwansamdi on the first fight. There's a lot of problems with this comp, though. So on turn 1, you want to roll for like no shadow anomaly, so you don't get AoE'd by Sayge, or get lucky and have Sayge use like the arcane attack and not kill Belinda or Varden. You'll also have to deal with all of the predictions not hitting your key abilities on certain turns that you need to use them, like when you do your Cold Snap plus Cookie Fish. If you have a prediction on your Cold Snap, you're just going to have to take that damage on Varden. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And if you get hit by too many bad predictions throughout the fight, you can end up dying to that. So not a great way to beat the boss, but it can work. The more reliable way is to use Deathwing Rattlegore. This one is a way to bring 3 artillery strikes, but it's not super reliable because you need your Cairne to not die twice and your Deathwing to not die on turn 1. So this only really works if you get like good low damage anomalies as well as good ability selection from the enemies on turn 1. But it would allow you to bring 3 artillery strikes. I was able to beat it with this, but you do need some luck on those rolls. And then this is the most reliable way to do it, which is going to be the standard Elris Jaina Rattlegore Deathwing opener, where we use an ice block and slow them with Elris, and then do our combo, and then you end with Rattlegore and 2 artillery strikes. So to go over the comps here, I've got Elris with Downward Dog, Jaina with Ice Block, Rattlegore with Rattling Bones, Deathwing with Resolve of Undying, Rogers with Scout Spyglass, and Gin with Gillian Strength. And this is the comp that I would personally use. And then here for the Cairne one, it's Cairne with Reincarnation, Rattlegore with Rattling Bones, Deathwing with Resolve of Undying, Eudora with Branding Bracers, Rogers with Scout Spyglass, and Gin with Gillian Strength. And on this comp, if you were to lose your Cairne on turn 1 because he died twice, you could try to either bring out Eudora and bounce Eudora out of the way, and then still get your combo off, but it's possible that Deathwing dies before you land that, so that would be a risk. Or you could bring Rogers out instead and just end with 2 artillery strikes and use Rogers' Master Tactician here to speed up your Deathwing Destroy All Life. And then Rogers would die to the combo, but you would still end with Eudora, Gin, and Rattlegore, which would be perfectly fine. So that's an option for that one, and sometimes you might get through with 3 artillery strikes instead of 2. And then on the Varden comp, we have Bwansamdi with Arena Contender, Belinda with Lesser Water Elemental, Varden with Band of Frost, Cookie with Appetizers, Gin with Gillian Strength, and Voon with Dragon Rune Axe. And again, on this comp, you have to hit Varden's Frost Ritual so that you can cast Frost Ritual, and then Axe Throw with Voon, and Frost Dart with Belinda, and Chain Freeze those Tentacles at the end. So you have to keep alive Voon, Gin, Varden, and Belinda at minimum, and you would ideally kill off Bwansamdi and Cookie for artillery strike odds. Alright, so I'm just going to run it with the Jaina comp. I have beaten it with all 3 of those comps though, so I can guarantee that they can work, but you do need a certain amount of stats for some of them to work properly, and the Cairne one needs some RNG as well. So there is one problem that this comp can run into, which is if you don't hit, like, that's a crazy shadow anomaly. If you don't hit like any damage anomalies and they're doing like almost no damage on turn 1, sometimes your ice block won't pop, and that can mess up your artillery strike odds. So I tend to just shoot at my Jaina to make sure that the ice block goes off more reliably. It would actually be beneficial to level up one of Jaina's damage abilities a little bit so that your Bone Flame plus whatever Jaina shoots at herself is enough for her to ice block to go off. but I'm not sure if that's a great use of Renown. It wouldn't cost too much to guarantee it, but that's something to look at for the future with these Jaina Deathwing comps. Okay, and on turn 2, you should just have to cast Restore All Life and then restart the client to skip the animations. Or you can sit through it if you want to. And we don't really care what treasures we get, but some of them do speed up the tentacle cleanup a little bit. But as long as you have a decent level Bone Flame, it should be able to kill the tentacles with just Rattlegore in a pretty quick order. I think I ended with Rattlegore just below 200 HP, so like 190 something. So he doesn't die too many times. You're not like close to losing or anything, even if your Bone Flame was lower than mine. And some of the treasures can also help out with that damage. We got an Artillery Strike, that's great. Now this one is good for damage, but it adds a lot of animation time because these things only do 23 damage apiece. So if you are concerned about the strength of your Rattlegore being able to win, this would probably be your choice here. It does do good damage, but you've got a lot of animations with swinging with all 6 characters every turn. This one's also okay, but it's only 100 damage on 2 targets per turn, so it's not the greatest. This one probably adds the most damage out of these to finish the fight the fastest, so I'm just going to take that. You don't get to cast the Cleaving Strike every time, because sometimes Rattlegore dies at 4 speed, so if they're going to swing at him at 4 speed and you don't get that 6 speed attack off first, then you can't use the Cleaving Strike, and it also, when he dies, it like resets the cooldown on it. So you won't necessarily find opportunities to use that cleave too much, but when you do, the bleed damage does stack up pretty well, so it's kind of nice. None of these are like especially good, so I'll just keep my Artillery Strike, and then maybe if we hit a treasure that actually does something, I can change it, but I don't think any of Gin or Roger's treasures are really that great here. I guess you could bring like Voon instead, and just get off like an axe throw before he dies, but none of that stuff's too useful. Let's keep that artillery. I guess this is a little bit more damage since I don't need the second artillery here. We're just going to lose our Gin and our Rogers like turn 1 though, so it's basically just Rattlegore soloing the boss. We got a pretty low health roll on them this time. That's nice. They'll die a bit faster. I'm just gonna focus one of them down. Oh, we only have 1 melee attack coming in, so Gin might actually survive here. It just depends what they target. Okay, I'm gonna go for the cleave, and we're gonna make a taunt to ensure that Rattlegore survives. So this melee attack doesn't hit Rattlegore, and then we get the cleave off and get some bleed. Speed up the fight a little bit. I could have transformed again there to make sure he gets an attack off, but I didn't really care if he does or doesn't. Okay, so they're not using their 4 speed here, so I actually can get another bleed. It doesn't matter which one you target with the bleed since it hits both of them with both the melee damage and the bleed. I probably should shoot the other one now since the bleed's going to do some work. This one would kill Rattlegore before the Cleaving Strike got off, so I'm just going to use Bone Flame this turn. I should have shot this one last turn though, since the bleed would have killed that other one this turn anyway. And then here, just to reduce animations, I'm going to kill these off first. And that one's got a bleed on it anyway, so I might as well take advantage of that. Okay, and then this last one will get the go to 75 HP since it's the last one in play. And thankfully those repeated hits just hit that one life. It doesn't like constantly respawn and re-kill Rattlegore, so you don't like chew through your lives super fast. As you can see here, we're ending with, you know, basically 200 HP. So we had plenty of more lives on Rattlegore if we needed them. Only used like 6 lives or something. So I guess I'll quickly show the start of the Varden comp fight, but I don't want to do the full run with it, even if I hit the treasures. So I'm just going to show how the Sayge fight can go a little bit. Also, the Cairne Deathwing comp is basically the same thing that you just saw there. You just need to get lucky that you don't lose your Deathwing on turn 1, and hopefully your Cairne survives. So you probably just want to reroll as soon as you see a Shadow Anomaly. But it's possible that Sayge doesn't cast the Shadow ability. But I think the smart thing to do is just reroll whenever you see Shadow. We'll see what he does. Yeah, he's casting the Shadow ability, so that's a loss. This is one of the several reasons I don't really like running this with this comp, but there aren't really a lot of great options on this boss outside of Deathwing Rattlegore, since it's just a lot of spell damage, and you have the taunts in the way, and their attack is pretty high, so trying to get a triple freeze is a little bit more challenging too. And then if you did bring Holmes, it does eat up your party slots, so not great. Alright, we got Shadow again. It's just lower this time. The thing is, I don't really like proceeding with the fight, even if it doesn't kill my Belinda and Varden. If it gets them low, then you don't have any hit points to soak up extra prediction damage later in the fight. So if they get injured, it's probably better to just restart anyways. This one does more, I guess. I'm not sure where this arcane one hits. I didn't feel like reading the ability. It might hit the water elemental. It hits Belinda though, and obviously that's not good, because we need Belinda alive. Belinda can avoid the predictions more easily than Varden though, so this might be a possible run. So you could proceed with this one, it would be okay, but Belinda being injured is not good. So here you would bring out Cookie and Varden and Buan. And keeping around elementals isn't super useful. You can save them, but sometimes just getting the ramp early is better. So here we're just going to do a fish and a cold snap and a bounce. And I'm going to go ahead and swing with this just to ramp that cold snap before it goes off. Alright, so now we can bring out Belinda Varden. You can also try to squeeze in Gin at some point to get heals off on people, but the prediction gets in the way of your healing sometimes. Like if Belinda gets prediction on her only even speed Frost Dart, then you might not be able to heal on that turn anyway. So I'm just going to take the ramp here. And fortunately our Flurry didn't get predicted. I would probably just cast the Ice Lance if it was predicted. And I'm going to go ahead and bounce here. You don't want to let them unfreeze without an opportunity to cold snap again, ideally. So we do want to kill Cookie and Bonsomdi off if we can by the end of this. And we do want Belinda and Varden to both survive, ideally. So I'm going to bring these guys out. So this should be our no bounce turn, and then they'll unfreeze next turn. So don't put Go Fish out and then flurry it. you'll end up shooting your fish with your flurry. So I could just Cold Snap this turn, and that would kill both of these reds since we got no health anomaly on them, and I have good damage. A lot of times you will have them survive on this turn, though. I guess I'll just go ahead and do that. We have Ice Lance for next turn and a Water Elemental if we need it. And we're probably going to kill off our Bwonsamdi with prediction damage. I don't really have a good way to damage him below 208 right now, since he's got this Appetizer's health. I'm just going to do a Feed, Cold Snap, and I think I want to injure my Bwonsamdi so that he can die to a prediction next turn, rather than shooting the damage into the enemies. Okay, so if we summon this fish, it will kill our cookie. I'm just going to Ice Lance this turn. And this would also kill our Bwonsamdi. I could also bounce to refresh this freeze. I'm going to do that instead, and we'll delay this a little bit. But I am going to get the fish out and get rid of cookie now, while I have the opportunity. And we'll just save this Water Elemental. So if you deal a fear, the prediction will happen after the immunity, so it's not like Creeping Madness or anything where Bwonsamdi dies anyway. It would prevent the prediction damage, so if you need to kill Bwonsamdi by casting one of the deals, just select one of the ones that doesn't make him immune, and he'd be able to die that way. Okay, so we want Varden for sure, and Bwonsamdi because we need to kill Bwonsamdi, and then we could either bring out Belinda or Gin. Belinda should be safe, because we'll just not do the prediction things. And this way we get another Water Elemental here. Okay, so I can shoot here and then kill Bwonsamdi this way. I think that's reasonable. Or I could go here. I guess this is more damage to go there and shoot this Frost Dart. The problem is this fish is in my way for a flurry, so I'm just going to waste the fish and then flurry afterwards. And in that case, I think I will just do it this way. Okay, and then we have Gen for healing if we want it. But we're just going to be able to kill Sayge this turn without him being able to act. It doesn't really matter what I do here. Okay, so this is what you want to end with, is Varden, Belinda, and your artillery strikes, and then you need to hit an artillery strike and Frost Ritual. And then you have the 4-speed attacks. So we missed, so this is a loss unless you get a reroll. Which you can get since you do have Dead Mercenaries. It's possible to hit Varden again later. I don't think any of these are particularly great. So since I did hit the artillery strike, I do get a chance after the Siren here to have a reroll on Varden's treasure. It also might be possible, depending on what anomalies you hit, or maybe like Stoneheart Salvation and Gin Summons could be good. So you could try to throw out, like say Varden ends up getting garbage. I guess Stolen Invitation's okay. None of these are particularly useful. If your Varden has garbage, you could throw Varden and Boone and whoever out and hope that the Tentacles don't kill your Belinda and your Gin. Whoever you put out, and then use those Gin taunts and maybe like Stoneheart Salvation. You could end up ramping your health enough where you could survive some hits when they get through the taunts. I guess Atiesh is better than these. And yeah, we didn't get the reroll, so this is probably just a loss. I wasn't going to run it anyway, but Since Varden doesn't have anything useful, maybe the Death Rattle treasure was better just to get that freeze. If you do end up having to throw away your Varden. I guess since we have Stolen Invitation, we'll leave Gin back. But you would want them to not kill Belinda, ideally. So maybe they hit like here and here, or maybe you're really lucky and they hit the Water Elemental. Or they just use Nyalothan Strikes, that's also very good. You can also freeze that. There's not really, since you don't have like Rogers to speed up your Elemental, you can never freeze this 4-speed. So you might as well just freeze anything that's slow enough to be frozen. And then I guess Varden gets extra damage, but this is the comp you would run. You would just be casting a Frost Ritual and then your Axe Throw and your Frost Dart on these turns. They don't have a lot of hit points though, so if you do manage to get a little bit lucky on their ability usage, it's possible you can limp through it. Since there's only 2 enemies and you don't have them low enough here, the Flurry is going to do more damage. I guess we'll try to get this one low enough to Cold Snap it or something. But this comp is not likely to win without Frost Ritual. And these Nyalothan Strikes actually get quite dangerous as you start to kill things. So I think I want to Flurry again this turn. There's only 200 damage coming in, so nothing's going to die this turn. I could Ice Lance, or I could try to save that. I think the Flurry's good. And we'll take this damage. I actually want that one set up to die. I'll do it this way. There's some RNG on the Flurry, but I want this one where I can like Cold Snap it. Okay, we actually slowed them both. And this Cold Snap will stop both of them. I do have to be concerned about the spawns afterwards, though. I'm going to summon this. And I could just Flurry here. It's not quite enough to kill that on its own, but if I do this, this will block this melee attack. I think this sets us up better for next turn, so that we don't die to Nyalothan Strike. There was a chance that both of those melee swings got off if my Flurries hit really bad. And then here... okay, so they're all slower than 6 speed. So if I just shoot here and then Cold Snap, that should be a win. Alright, so I guess you can win without Frost Ritual, but you need luck. I was fortunate to not have them both melee swing and kill everything off on turn 1. But Frost Ritual and then the 4-speed attacks would give you the guaranteed win there. Alright, so that covers 940 day 3. Our best farm so far is going to be this day 2 farm with the Deathwing comp that we showed in the video yesterday. So good luck on your runs.